a year before I started coming to Jesus House that I would be leaving my church of 11 years. So the morning I got up in August 2004, I told a cab driver by Highsville Metro Station that I was going to Silver Spring. And as we got to Fenton in Philadelphia, the driver was explaining to me there's several churches up the street, and he said, there's a church right here to your left. And I said, no, we're going to go to our left. And it happened to be Jesus House, D.C. That's how I became a member of Jesus House. So shortly after coming to Jesus House, I had spoken to Pastor Ghandi and told him all about what I had been doing in my home. And one of the things that I had been doing in my home was taking care of young women and their children, whether they came for a week, a month, or a year. And it was really a time where I knew God was building me up to do something. And I was taking care of these young ladies because they didn't have anywhere to go. And I knew that God was calling me to be a spiritual person to them. And so they came to live with me and my 3 children. 2004, when I came to Jesus House, D.C., I came in August, but in October I met with Pastor Ghandi to let him know a little bit about me and to let him know what I had already been doing in my church as well as in my home. So we talked a little bit about the ministry that I was doing, which was taking in young ladies with or without children. And so talking with Pastor Ghandi and being a part of Jesus House and just waiting to see exactly what it was that God wanted me to be doing while I was here. I knew it was something, and I just knew it was a time and a season that God would speak to me. So in 2008, Pastor Ghandi spoke to me in April and told me to come and see him. Well, my job at Casual Mail took a turn where certain people got fired, different things were happening, so I wasn't able to come until June. So one evening after church, I said, okay, Erica, you're going to have to get it together and just go up there and talk to him, and whatever it is, it's going to be. So I went up front and I said, hey, Pastor, you have a few minutes? I know you were trying to get in contact with me. And he said, yes. So he got real quiet. And we went up to the front of the church. We sat down. And he got really quiet. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? What did I do? I'm thinking in my head. So what did I do? What did I do? And he didn't say anything. And then he said, God spoke and told me at the prayer retreat, and this will be the prayer retreat in 2008, that I should come alongside of you and open up a home with you. I said, okay. After that, I couldn't even speak. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything because I knew I had already asked God to do something, to show me something that would encourage me to go to the next level while I was here at this church. And so normally I have this whole list of prayer requests in July for the prayer retreat. But God had done such an awesome work at that day, on that day in June, was the weekend after Father's Day, that I just knew that was my whole prayer list right there in one, that God had opened a door to restore my hope and to maximize my potential to be a coordinator for our Rise House project. 2008, after Pastor Ghandi and I spoke, I realized that I needed to put some things in order in my life. And I worked in retail. So I started working on the project for a Rise House with RCDC. And I said, okay, Erica, what part of this will you be willing to do? So we were looking for homes and different things. It was a time in between before the project actually, from when the project started until the finishing of the project, that I had to continue seeking God's face and see how I would be able to work on this project while I was working full-time in retail. So I began to, in 2010, I decided that, okay, you know what, I'm going to leave my full-time work. So I left my full-time job at Casual Mail XL in 2010 to work with RCDC, a Rise House project, full-time. And at that time, I was in the choir as well. In 2009, we had the 501c3. We looked at several homes in D.C. as well as in Maryland. And I had a meeting with Pastor Ghandi, and he realized that there was property out in Burtonsville that they had just purchased out in Burtonsville. And so he told me if I liked the home, there would be a home that we can use for a Rise House. And that's how it started, with doing the construction work and just getting everything we needed for the license to operate a home for young women and their children. Now, we have had 3 sets of families, which is a total of 6 families moving to a RISE house. It has been an overwhelming joy deep down in my spirit, my soul, my mind, and my body, that God has done this for me. Regardless of how much obstacles I have gone through within this program, it never ceased to see what God has done in my life for me and my family, for opening up this home and just being able to give an outpour even more, touching these lives every day. You know, it's different on being on the Metro bus and the Metro rail. I only get a glimpse of something to say to them in passing. It's not like the ministry in my heart that has been fulfilled in me, through me, to touch other families, and know that God has equipped my hands and my mind and my body to strengthen me every day to do this great work that He has called me to do. Has been nothing but a blessing. I give my thanks to Pastor Ghandi and the team here at Jesus House DC for assisting in every form of fashion. I give my hat off to every minister who's come alongside Pastor Ghandi throughout the different ministries we've had here, and the pastors that have come, they've given me insight of what God has been giving me, you know, and being able to take that fire, being able to take that equipment that He's given me on an adventure through a RISE house and through the other fellowships, through the Metro bus and the Metro rail. I thank God. I thank God. And I thank God for all that He has done to me. There's nothing more than I can say except for God continue blessing Jesus House and the pastor and the team here, because it's an outpour of true love that I have felt. That is overwhelming joy down in my soul for what God has done for me, and restoring hope and maximizing potential, and just letting me be a vessel in His army to serve. I'm so grateful.